Okay, welcome to another episode of the Fisher Fitness Coaching Podcast. I've forgotten what episode it is. 20, 19, 20? 20 would be a good landmark. I didn't think I'd get to 20. I'll be honest. So yeah, I think it's 20. Could be 19. Who knows? Doesn't really matter. But anyway, here's another episode. I've just come back from getting my beard done. Those of you who aren't watching on YouTube, which is probably most of you, won't see how unbelievably precise my beard is. I don't know if anyone has ever gone to a professional to get their beard done before, but it can be quite an experience. This guy, I've never had anyone spend so long on my beard before. It was his own. I was his only customer, and he was trying to make it as perfect as possible. It's great though. It's he spent about, compared to the last one I went to, which was not far away from him, literally 5 minutes. Didn't give a shit. Didn't want me there. Just clippers, a quick sort of going over, and then tenner. See you later. This guy though, he spent, not joking, about 45 minutes actually trimming my beard and blending it all. And then look at it. He was using I don't know what they're called, cutthroat razor to make it nice and precise. And he was spending so long blending it all. And then he even had to go in my ears, my nose, my eyebrows. And then he even got some moisturizer out and started moisturizing my face, moisturizing my nose and my head. And then then I had the hot towel treatment, which was cool. Hot towel treatment. He was like, "Yeah, relax, my friend, and sleep." And I was like, "Okay, this is a little bit weird, but I'll go with it." Anyway, it's great. So he's got himself a new customer, and he's like a 10-second walk from me, so it's ideal. Those of you who are in the NR3 area, he is called New Style Barbers. He's got canaries outside the front of his shop, or his barbers. Yeah, amazing shave. I'd highly recommend it. If you're lucky enough to have hair, go there for a haircut, because what an experience. It just shows you, if you treat your customers well and like you care, you're going to get more business. Simple. Anyway, this episode is, what is it on, Rich? I wrote some notes down this morning. Oh yeah, muscle building myths. So I'm going to go through some muscle building myths I have thought of, which I know they are around. So I'm going to go through them and just sort of myth bust them, I suppose. Bust the myths. So yeah, it shouldn't be too long. And also, for the people who have very kindly given me some really good feedback on the podcast, I really appreciate it. It means a lot, because I'm not going to lie, sometimes I just think, what's the point? Because, you get a few people listening, mainly your family members, maybe a couple of friends, most of your clients. But these people are, some guy emailed me and said, I think his name Trevor. If you're listening, Trevor, thank you. I do appreciate it. It makes me want to carry on, because even though not many people are listening, it's helping people. And it's just another way for me to get my content out there, not just by doing reels and posts and writing stuff, So anyway, muscle building myths. I think I've got 4 or 5 to go through, so it shouldn't take too long. Muscle building is very complex. It's very hard work. It takes a long time. Those of you who are trying to build muscle, like myself, you will know that already. If you don't know how to build muscle and you want to find out, then this could be a good podcast for you. At least I'll go through things which you may think are true, but are probably not. And why is that, you ask? Well, it's just because a lot of people think they know, so they tell people what they know, and that information isn't correct. So that it's like Chinese whispers and just gets worse and worse and worse. So you imagine someone reads something or looks at something on YouTube or Google or gets something from their friend or whatever, and it isn't correct. Then they think that they now know the right information, so they tell someone else. They put it on their social media. They tell their gym buddies, and they tell their friends. It just keeps on growing and growing. And this is how these myths start. So there are people out there, coaches out there, who will do their best to try and bust them for good. But I think they're always going to be around. They're always going to be around. Okay, first one. You need to change your program regularly to keep the muscle guessing. That's not true. The muscles don't think. The muscles don't have brains. Your muscles are... It's just tissue, isn't it? It's just tissue, and it adapts through stress. So the analogy I use, and I've used a lot on my social media in the past, is think about muscle being Deadpool. You know how Deadpool, the film, you know how he mutates when he's put under a huge amount of stress. So he basically changes into a superhero when after he's put through a lot of stress. So he gets beaten up, he gets electrocuted, he gets dunked in water, he gets whatever. He gets starved of oxygen, suffocated. After all this stress and whatever you call it, suffering, then he mutates into this superhero. He's strong, he's invincible. Think of your muscles the same as that. Your muscles are Deadpool. You just need to put them under huge amounts of stress for them to adapt, to mutate to that stress. So, but when your muscles adapt to that stress that you have put them through in that training session, then guess what? You just need to put them through more stress so they adapt even further. And that's all you are doing. You are, and this is what progressive overload is. Basically, is going into the gym and progressively getting stronger some way, whether it's more load, more reps, whatever. But you are literally, you're putting the muscles through more stress for them to adapt to that stress when you're sleeping. And then next time you go to the gym, you need to put it through more stress and more. Because if you put it through the same amount of stress, that's just baseline. That's just you're not going to grow. You're not going to adapt from that. So this idea of having to change the program to keep the muscles guessing is just rubbish. It doesn't make any sense. In fact, it's not. In fact, it's not. Hopefully, you can't hear the washing machine. The washing machine is on, and it's just about to go mental. I've turned on the remove background noise thing on, so hopefully that'll work. It's actually not a good thing to. It hinders your progress if you are always changing your program every 4, 5, 6 weeks, because you need to get stronger at these specific movements. So don't change your program. Change it if you don't like it. Change it if there are exercises you don't like or don't get on with, and change it if you're bored. Because if you're bored, you're not going to put the effort in. So only change it if you actually want to. But if you enjoy the program, keep it, stick to it, and do it forever. If you want to, do it forever. Oh, it's so loud. It's so annoying. Bad timing. So yeah, keep the same program. That's it. You don't need to change your program. Your muscles won't keep guessing. They haven't got brains. You just need to put them under more and more stress. Next one is you need to do squats, deadlift, and bench in order to build muscle, and that's not true at all. Again, in fact, these 3 exercises probably aren't the best exercises for optimal muscle growth. And remember, I said optimal there. So yes, these exercises will still build muscle, but it comes at a cost. It comes with lots of fatigue. So when we try to build muscle, we need to choose exercises which offer high stimulus to a low fatigue. So high SFR, high stimulus to fatigue ratio, and squats, deadlifts, and bench have fairly low SFRs, so low stimulus to fatigue ratio. Yes, they offer quite big stimulus on the muscle, but they also fatigue you. And to build muscle, you need to try and keep fatigue at I wouldn't say minimum, but you need to keep fatigue at a lower end of the spectrum, so you can recover better, so you can recover and repair and go again for the next session. So yes, these exercises will build muscle, but they're probably not optimal. So let's take squats, for example. Squats not only, like you'd think squats, quads, but depending on the person, depending on their anatomy, their biomechanics, their lever lengths, someone might have a very hip dominant squat, like myself. I've got big femur, I've got long femurs. So when I squat, my hips flex quite a lot. So my squats are very glute dominant, not very quad dominant. So it massively depends on the person, depends on the individual. Whereas some people squat and they're very knee dominant, so they get good quad stimulus. So again, it massively depends. Because you're doing squats and deadlifts and bench, they're very fatiguing. They recruit more than one muscle group at the same time. So squats, like for example, they do. Or let's take deadlifts. Deadlifts, most of your posterior chain, which is the back behind of you. So your back, your lower back, glutes and hamstrings are being recruited, and also some quads, and also your core muscles. So again, not very good at building muscle because the stress is so spread out throughout your whole body. Stress needs to be very concentrated on a particular muscle group for it to get the most attention. But at the same time, if we look at someone who does a squat with a very knee dominant movement, and if we take them to do a squat and they get them to do a leg extension as well, which is isolating the quad, you need to think, are they really going to be able to put as much tension on the quad in a leg extension as they would in a heavy squat? Probably not. So squats can be very good for some people in a muscle building program. So, but you don't need to do these 3 exercises. That's what I'm saying. You don't need to do them. If you're a powerlifter, then yeah, obviously you need to do these 3 exercises because the competition is based around squat, SBD, squat, bench, and deadlift. I would recommend practicing these movements because they're very. I don't like using the word functional, but they're very. What's the word, Rich? It's a very natural movement for your body to be put through. A big push, a lift from the floor, and a squat. I think most people should be taught these 3 movements, but you don't need to do them for muscle growth. Yeah. Next one. It carries over into the next one. So you need to do a certain exercise. You don't need to do any certain exercises. You need to do exercises which work best for you, and you're going to progress at, and which offer a high SFR, so high stimulus to fatigue ratio. They're not going to beat you up. They're not going to cause injury. You're going to get better at them. You're going to get stronger at them, and they work a specific muscle group. Again, depends on what area of the body do you want to work. What do you want to build? If it's all over, you need to have a program which works each major muscle group. And it isolates those particular muscle groups. All right, you wouldn't really give someone a program of deadlift, squat, and bench if they're 3 times over, for example, if they want to build muscle, because that's just so fatiguing. And especially if that someone's got a family, got a busy job, they're stressed, they don't sleep well. So it's all these things to take into account. So there's no best exercise. You don't need to do a certain exercise to build muscle. Hence why it's very complex. The next one is you need protein straight after your workout. I mean, it won't hurt, but you don't need protein straight after your workout. There was a time when this is a perfect example of thinking someone knows something. So when I started to go to the gym when I was like 18, this is at the UEA Sports Park, for those of you who know it. And I was working out, and this guy who was clearly on steroids, didn't know back then. I just thought, wow, he's drinking protein. That's why he's so big. Ignorant, obviously. And he was downing this protein literally as he was finishing his last rep. And I was like, oh wow, yeah. I mean, that's how it's done. That's how you get that big. You train and you drink protein straight after. It's bollocks. You don't have to. I mean, it might be a good idea to get 25, 30 grams of protein after your workout, like an hour or two after, but it's not absolutely necessary. As long as you get your total protein in over like 3, 4, 5 meals spread out evenly throughout the day, around sort of 30, 40 grams in each meal, then it's fine. You don't have to have a protein shake or whatever straight after your workout. There's none of this metabolic window, all that kind of BS. So yeah, I hope that clears things up. You don't have to have protein straight after. So if you think, oh, I haven't got my protein with me, and you go to the gym, that means I can't work out. It doesn't mean that. Still go and work out, still go and lift some stuff, then just simply have a high protein dinner when you get home, or a high protein breakfast, or whenever you train, or a protein shake when you have the time. Yeah, that's done. So the next one is compound exercises are best. Again, not true. They can be very, very good depending on what sort of compound exercises you are talking about. Compound exercises, by the way, are exercises which are multi-joint and they work more than one muscle group at the same time. So, for example, a bicep curl is an isolation, and a seated row is a compound because it works the biceps and the back and back of the shoulders, depending on the angle. Anyway, so yes, compound exercises are very, very good as long as you have some other support to stop or to minimize momentum. But isolation exercises are probably better because they're isolating that specific muscle group. They are very low in fatigue. Like bicep curls are better to build biceps than a pull-up, for example. And pull-ups are compound, bicep curls are isolation. So yes, compound exercises are very good and need to be in most muscle building programs, or most programs in general. But I wouldn't say they are the best. They're very good, and so is isolation exercises are also very, very good and also need to be in muscle building programs. Okay, so yeah, have a bit of both, depending on what your preferences and your goals and who you are and your training age and stress levels, your how you sleep, your nutrition, your protein, all that kind of stuff. I'm getting through this quite quick. This is good. So the next one is, oh yeah, this is a good one. So this is what, again, I used to think this. So, hang on. Oh yeah, so certain exercises, like for example squats and deadlifts, they increase testosterone. So you might have heard this before. If you do squats, you release testosterone, which helps muscle growth. That's sort of true, but it's not true enough for it to assist your muscle growth. So yes, it's true as when you do a heavy squat or a deadlift, your testosterone, which is hormone, will increase, but only for a small amount of time, and it will soon go back down to baseline. So it's not enough. It doesn't increase enough for it to make any significant difference in how much muscle you build. So I wouldn't even bother worrying about it. I wouldn't even think, like, yes, it's sort of true, but it's not true enough for it to make a difference. So I wouldn't stop listening to this thinking, so that's true. So that means if I do squat or bench or deadlift or any big movements, then I'm going to build more muscle. You won't, because the main factor of building muscle is keeping fatigue to a minimum and tension on the muscle to a maximum, while getting enough sleep, getting enough protein, and getting stronger, taking your working set close to failure. mechanical tension, all that kind of stuff. Progressive overload. Those are the key things when it comes to muscle growth, not increasing testosterone when you squat. Yes, when you increase testosterone, aka inject it inside you, you're going to build a lot of muscle a lot quicker because it's testosterone. It's a growth hormone. So if you think about it, if that did work, if squatting spiked your testosterone, then there'd be a lot more huge guys or girls around, because a lot of people squat, a lot of people deadlift, a lot of people bench press and overhead press. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, it's sort of true, but then again, it's just it goes back to baseline or maintenance very quickly after, so I wouldn't even worry about it. Basically, if you want to squat. If you want to get stronger at squatting and deadlifting and whatever, then do it. But you don't have to do it. So more weight on the bar or dumbbell or whatever means more muscle. Not really true. Like I said, to build muscle, you need to progressively get stronger over time. But think if we were to have a lot of weight on a barbell, then let's say for a squat or even a leg press, that it could potentially hinder the technique, which would mean other muscles will start coming into play to help you move that load from A to B, whereas you want to make it isolated on that specific muscle. So it's not always about the amount of weight you move; it's how you move it from A to B. You can still build muscle with a very low amount of weight, as long as you take that working set, or you take your muscles, take the working set close to failure, as long as you're putting high amounts of tension onto that muscle. So, for example, that video I did on me doing very, very light bicep curls, I did about 3 kilo bicep curls and I did about 100 reps. Stupid idea, because my biceps are literally killing. They are in bits now. They've been sore for about 2 days, and they're the worst today. So it just shows I took the set close to failure, but it was only 3 kilos. But my biceps are still really sore because it's high amounts of tension. It's muscle trauma, micro trauma or muscle damage. So yeah, you don't need to lift very, very heavy weights to build muscle, because most people, when they start to lift too heavy for them, their technique will start to break down, and other muscles will start coming into play, and other movements will start coming into play to help you move that weight. So you'll start using momentum, you'll start moving, twisting around to try and get the weight. You know what I mean? So it's sometimes less is more. Final one. Creatine. It's it's about muscle growth or muscle building. This is a bit of a myth which I've heard. So creatine causes baldness and bloating. I mean, I take creatine and I've got shitloads of hair, so I don't know what you're on about. No, obviously, baldness is the coolest thing in the world, so don't even worry about it. It doesn't cause baldness and it doesn't cause bloating. So what creatine does is it pulls water into the muscle, so it actually helps muscles appear larger, which is what you want, right? So it's a good thing. So it doesn't cause bloating, doesn't cause baldness. So just don't think about those two things. Creatine is the most well researched supplement out there. It's got 1,000 studies. It's cheap. Like I think every scoop is what it's like 20p or something. You can't taste it. You can put it in anything, your tea, your coffee, your cereal, whatever. Just take 5 to 7 grams a day, depending on your size, obviously, every day, and yeah, you'll see fairly decent, not only muscle size differences, but also a difference to your strength. One of my clients who's fairly new, he asked if he should be taking creatine. I simply said not really right now, because he's still getting used to all the movements. He's still fairly new to to training and lifting weights. He's getting great results. But I said, if you want to, it's not going to hurt. But I would wait maybe a couple of months. Whether or not that's the right or wrong advice, I don't know. But I don't think he needs it right now. But I said definitely in the future. But he can take it if he wants to. So I take it because I've got a pretty old training age. I've been training for years, so I need anything and everything which is out there to help me increase muscle tissue size. So I take 5 to 7 grams a day. I don't bother with the loading phase or the whatever phase. It's just I just take 5 to 7 a day, and it'll gradually fill up my muscles, basically. So yeah, don't worry. All the bald guys out there, just embrace it. Embrace the baldness. Grow a beard if you can. Shave it all off. Best thing I've ever done. So that is it. I hope that helps. Nothing else I think I need to go, through. Again, thanks for the kind feedback. If you can leave a review on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that'd be awesome. Share this to your Instagram stories. Tell your friends and family about it. Would be good. If you're interested in coaching, as always, just let me know and we'll have a chat. We'll have a nice, easy phone call and just see if you're the right fit for coming on. And if you haven't already, download my UTP, the Ultimate Training Program. It's got everything you need in there for you to start your journey on your own. So it's got your training program, it's got your calorie and protein calculator, it's got your meal planner or macro planner, it's got an exercise library, it's got a body weight tracker, and it's got, what else has it got? That's it, yeah. So it's got everything you need. So no excuses. If you need extra help, let me know and we'll have a chat. But yeah, I hope this helped, and I will speak to you all later on.